Xenoverse 3 is coming, and I refuse to let the only Freeza race transformations be more color changes like Black Freeza, or have our CACs turn into exact copies of original characters like Freeza, like Cooler, in the same way Purification makes you into an exact copy of Kid Buu. No, that is really lazy, and they can be so much more. So, today we are going to talk about how Xenoverse 3 can give us these amazing Freeza race transformations and make them amazing. Now, choosing the potential Freeza race awoken skills is something that is very easy. You have all of Frieza's suppression forms and his buff 100% form. You have Cooler's final form and his metal Cooler form. And in a potential update, whenever the granola art gets animated, I can see them adding Black Freeza as a form. But unlike transformations for Saiyans, which are mostly changes to hair and eye color, the transformations of the Freeza race completely change the body and design of the character. And I want to avoid every character looking like a carbon copy of Freeza and Cooler, but with their own colors. So my solution to that is doing something similar to the partner customization menu, where you can change the character's outfit, the colors, the skills, even presets for their stats. So if you were to use a 3-stage Freeza transformation skill, when you go into your second form, you won't look the exact same as Freeza. You'd be tall, but you can have different horns, have different armor. Maybe you would want your CAC to have the gems that Freeza has on his body, or maybe you want your CAC to look like Cooler, who doesn't have those gems and pretty much just has the armor. Or have an entirely different design, considering Xenoverse does have the custom-made biosuits in the game. Now, I'm gonna ask you guys a question. Do you think if we can customize how our forms look in Xenoverse 3, that we should be able to take away the dildo head completely in the third form for Freeza races? Everyone always makes fun of it because it looks so silly, but in the same way how the second form is really iconic because it's all tall, the fourth form is iconic because it's so much sleeker and smaller than its other really big forms, Frieza's third form stands out to people because of the ridiculous head. Which is kinda sad because goofy head aside, this form looks really cool. I mean, the proportions of Freeza having the really long limbs and the hunched back, he looks really cool in this form. It's just the head that really throws people off. If they let us take away that goofy head, you could probably make some really cool and unique designs off of this form. But I could still see the developers keeping in the really dumb long head because it is a reference to the Xenomorphs and it does add a little bit of goofy charm to the form. And with Cooler's form, like him, you would become gigantic and get a really cool mask, but again, you can customize how the horns look, how the mask looks. The idea is to use the original forms as a base template, but again, we can customize the features of it so we look unique while using them. But now that we've covered how the design aspect can work, I really want to cover how they can work from a gameplay aspect. In my video where I listed 3 ways that Xenoverse 3 could really fix and make awoken skills better, I talked about how awoken skills for other races should work differently from Super Saiyan awoken skills. Saiyans are a class that focus specifically on doing high damage. Other races focus on other things, like Majins focusing on having really high defense. Namekians focus on having a lot of health, but when it comes to the Freeza race, not only do they have a lot of speed, but unique to them, they still have stamina recovery while attacking. And I think the awoken skills of different races should prioritize buffing the things that the race is naturally good at. Take a second to imagine just how amazing it would be if Freeza race awoken skills buff the stamina recovery of Freeza races. If a Freeza race has you in a combo, not only are they taking away your health, taking away your stamina whenever you vanish out of that combo, they're also gaining stamina while they're doing that. So if they have awoken skills that complement that ability by making their stamina recovery higher, they can pretty much just stay on offense and cook you the entire time. You're gonna be trying to catch your breath, going down to the ground and gaining stamina recovery? No bro, they're zooming right towards you. And speaking of zooming right towards you, again, having a lot of speed is a thing in Xenoverse, not only from the gameplay, but also the lore. There's a Saiyan and Freeza race NPC that are constantly arguing, and one of their dialogues is a Saiyan stating that Freeza race are only good for having a lot of speed. And these guys literally hate each other. They are constantly dogging on each other, so if he's complimenting their speed, it must be insane. If you've been playing Xenoverse 2 for a long time, I'm sure you know about what happens when a Freeza race uses Emperor's Sign. It gives a massive speed boost to the teammates of that Freeza race. With that speed boost, your regular walking becomes faster than flying dashes. And it is not just speed. In Xenoverse, the faster you are, the further you go. So if you're doing a square combo, your lunge to attack your opponent will get way more range. I mean, this speed stuff is crazy. Now, for game balance, obviously the Freeza Race form should not make you that fast, but imagine a absurd speed boost while having insane stamina recovery while fighting. That would make the Freeza Race gameplay style just insane, just constantly being attacked, constantly being speed blitzed. If you watch JJK, you know how crazy speed blitzing is, bro. Just imagine doing people like that online. Now, while I do think the Freeza Race Awoken skill should focus on buffing these things because these are the specialties of the race, they should still have increases in attack damage. Super Saiyan forms still buff defense and speed. Future Super Saiyan boost stamina recovery, and Super Saiyan God boost ki recovery. But for balance sake, the Frieza Awoken skills won't have as high of a damage increase as Super Saiyan 3, Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue. Saiyans should have the best damage in Xenoverse because that's their race's specialty, but the Freeza Race Awoken skills should focus on making the Freeza Race the fastest in the game by far, and give an increase to stamina recovery to boost the Freeza Race's natural gimmick of getting stamina while fighting. But, as I just said, the Freeza Race forms are still going to give you increases to damage and defense. So, let's talk about what I think these forms would buff. When it comes to Frieza's second form, I could easily see this being the basic attack and strike build for Freeza Races. And the third form has to be the Ki Blast build for Freeza Races. Now, I could see Frieza's final form acting as a hybrid build transformation, so it boosts both Ki Blast and Strike Supers. Obviously less than the second form and third form, but it boosts both of them, instead of only boosting one. But it could also be a basic attack Awoken skill just like Super Saiyan God. Either way, I do think Frieza's final form Awoken skill should have the best stamina recovery out of all the Freeza Race skills. Now, when it comes to Cooler's final form, I think this should be the tank Awoken skill for Freeza Races. You just get a bunch of defense. And I can also see this form giving you the biggest speed boost, because Cooler was just blitzing Goku. I mean, he was going crazy with his speed in this movie. And when it comes to these forms specifically, I want to add one more thing. Not only should we be able to customize the design of these forms, but also the attribute distribution of these forms too. Even if it's in a limited way, just like with partner customization, we should be able to choose the attribute distribution of these forms. I think that would really elevate these forms not only in uniqueness, but also in utility. Next is Frieza's 100% buff form. And I think this form should buff everything: attack power, defense, speed. But unlike every other hypothetical Freeza Race Awoken skill in this video, this form won't boost your stamina recovery. Instead, this form would give you slower stamina recovery and also take away the passive of Freeza Race getting stamina while attacking. And not just for balance, because this form will give you a lot of attack power, a lot of speed, a lot of defense, but also to make this canon. In the show, the drawbacks of this form are the stamina issues. Frieza states this form is not good for long battles, and that drawback is the perfect way to balance this form. Next on the list is the Metal Cooler form, and I want to get unique with this one. Instead of boosting attack power and defense like the other forms, I think this form should give you regeneration. In the movie, Cooler regenerating was one of the most annoying things that Goku and Vegeta had to deal with, and I think bringing that over into the game really helps this form stand out from the other ones. Now, to make the regen balanced, they can go about it two different ways. Step 1 is to make the regeneration just like the Namekian regeneration, to where it only heals the last red portion of your health bar. But the Freeza Race naturally has the lowest health bar in the game, so to make this balanced, I think they should make the regeneration faster than it is for the Namekian regeneration. But nothing too crazy, just fast enough to where it can still help them even with their short health pool. Step 2 would be them getting their own regeneration skill. Just like how Majins have the Quick Sleep skill, you would have an ability to heal yourself. And just like Turn Golden, I do want this form to have unique Ki Blast, just like the ones Cooler was using in the movie. And I think the Charged Ki Blast should be the gigantic eye explosion that Cooler can do. But as you can probably tell by the thumbnail, that is not where I think the Metal Cooler form should end. I think this form should also give you the ability to go even further and become a giant like the Namekians. But unlike the Namekians that only have Mouth Blast for super attacks, no. This form should have a bunch of cool things like metal spikes, eye beams, a lot of cool things. I really hope they cook if they put this in the game. I also hope they add the move where Cooler grabs you and he just drains the ki out of you. That would be really good for this form. Now, whenever they do animate their Granola arc, I really do hope we do get the Turn Black skill for the Freeza Race. Now, I just want to use the rest of this video just to clear up any misunderstandings people might have. When I talked about being able to change the stat allocation for the forms, I meant that specifically for the Freeza suppression forms and for Cooler's final form. Mainly because those would be the forms that would have the customization options, so you can change how they look. But when it comes to going 100%, going turn golden, going black, going turn metal, those would be based off what your character already looks like. And I know people love to get pedantic when it comes to Frieza's forms. Yes, I know that Frieza's fourth form slash final form is his regular base form. Everything before that are simply forms he made to help suppress himself. But Dragon Ball games constantly show the Frieza OC to be in a first form Frieza type of state. Look at Dragon Ball Heroes. Look at Dragon Ball Xenoverse. So when you see a Frieza race in a quote-unquote first form, you automatically think of, oh, I wonder what their other forms look like. Their second form, their final form, a cooler fifth form. But weirdly enough, I think the Cooler movie does make this mistake. Cooler tells Goku that he has one more form than Frieza, but that doesn't really make sense because Frieza's forms are suppression forms, so another form would still just be another weaker form than the base form. It could be marketing, it could be the people just forgetting how Frieza's forms work. Doesn't really matter. They are usually treating the first form as the base form and all the other forms as power-ups. And when it comes to the speed increase I want to see for Freeza Race Awoken skills, no. I do not want them to be as insane as Emperor's Sign. Emperor's Sign is way too cracked, like that would be super broken, especially for Xenoverse. Now, Xenoverse 3 will most likely fix a lot of issues we have in Xenoverse 2, like the terrible net code where it's hard to hit people. I'm hoping the game will have less iframes because I think Xenoverse 2 has way too many iframes, so if you're dashing around with that much speed, that would be really, really bad for the game. But I'm hoping that Xenoverse 3 will fix a lot of those issues, and I don't want the Freeza race to be as fast as Emperor's Sign, but still really, really fast, and I definitely want that amazing attack range that we were seeing in the earlier part of the video. I think that would make Freeza race just an amazing race, just because they're just speed demons, bro. They're just blitzing around and have all that stamina recovery. And Xenoverse 3, please buff Turn Golden. This form is so underpowered. It was really good in the beginning of Xenoverse 2, but now this form is trash, bro. Listen, a 30% increase to Ki Blast damage is pretty good, but it only boosts Ki Blast damage. It doesn't boost basic attacks, it doesn't boost strike, while also decreasing Ki recovery and decreasing your defense by 15%, which is especially bad because the Freeza race already have low health. And I think the worst part about Turn Golden is ironically the unique Ki Blast. Not only do they not do that much damage, but they don't even combo into each other. That is so bad. Please buff this form. This form needs some really, really good buffs. So I just wanted to clear that stuff up. If you guys have more questions, again, ask me in the comments. What are some things you want to see for the Freeza race in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3? What are some other things you want to see in general with Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3? Tell me in the comments. Hey, I will catch you guys later. God bless. I got another video coming soon though, but I will catch you guys later.